Megamass Studios presents the Bering Strait, 82 kilometers of absolute isolation where two continents almost collide. This is not just water, it is a giant crushing machine. Kinetic energy from 10 million ton ice flows creates a lethal environment. For a century, connecting Russia and America was an engineering hallucination. Today, a $105 billion hybrid solution begins. A pure bridge is impossible. Level 15 winds and Arctic ice pressure would snap the strongest steel pillars like toothpicks. The hybrid Bering design, massive viaducts in shallow zones and high-pressure tunnels deep beneath the 66-degree North seabed. Below the seafloor silt lies metamorphic granite. Here, engineers face the greatest challenge, hydrostatic pressure at 5 bar. The process starts in Nome, Alaska. High-performance concrete with microsilica additives ensures a 150-year lifespan in salt-heavy water. These 19-meter diameter tunnel rings are cast with a 3 mm tolerance. A tiny error means a catastrophic underwater leak. Observe the robotic arms performing precision laser welding on high-strength rebar. Every joint is a barrier against the ocean. 3D ultrasonic sensors scan every centimeter of the structure. We cannot afford even a single air bubble in the concrete matrix. At the Bering site, dynamic positioning vessels fight violent currents to maintain an exact zero-point coordinate for installation. Dredging the abyss. Massive hydraulic claws excavate millions of cubic meters to create a perfectly level trench for the tunnel segments. Simultaneously, at Cape Yulin, Russia, vertical technical shafts are drilled. These are the entry points for the massive boring machines. Each segment weighs 30,000 tons, equal to a light aircraft carrier. Controlling buoyancy in freezing water is pure physics. Internal ballast tanks coordinate the immersion. Giant segments sink slowly onto laser-guided targets on the dark seabed. Now, follow me inside the control hub of the Bering Leviathan, the most powerful tunnel boring machine ever built. Observe the massive cutter head, 19 meters in diameter, armed with 250 tungsten carbide teeth. Each tooth can crush metamorphic granite like a biscuit, but notice the integrated thermal heating system on the disc. In these freezing waters, excavated sludge would freeze instantly without maintaining a constant temperature of 15 degrees Celsius. Behind the head, 25,000 tons of hydraulic thrust force the machine forward, equivalent to the weight of 2 skyscrapers. To stay on track, I am using a laser gyroscope navigation system. Our tolerance? Just 2 millimeters per kilometer. A deviation as thin as a human hair would mean the Russian and American tunnel ends would never meet. Look at the conveyor belt. Crushed rock is mixed with specialized polymers to create a paste that balances pressure. This earth pressure balance prevents the massive weight of the ocean from flooding the cutter chamber. I'm standing here in the secondary gallery. Even at this depth, the logistics must be a flawless 24/7 operation. As the TBM advances 2 meters, a vacuum robotic arm lifts a 10-ton concrete segment into place in minutes. Look at the specialized grout being pumped behind the lining. It creates a second armor, sealing out the extreme hydrostatic pressure. A monorail system runs constantly, bringing in new tunnel segments and hauling out millions of tons of debris. Notice the cooling system for the 40-megawatt electric motors. We use the freezing seawater itself as a heat exchanger. Every vibration and oxygen level is monitored here. A 0.1% pressure shift triggers an automatic lockdown. We are now crossing a major tectonic fault line. Here, the rock is no longer solid. It is a fractured, unstable mess. I must order the immediate injection of chemical resins. We freeze the rock face chemically before the cutters even touch it. The goal is to create a temporary solid shell to prevent a catastrophic collapse under the weight of the Pacific. Look at the floor of the tunnel. These massive drainage pumps can move 5,000 liters of water every second. This is our only insurance. If a joint fails under this immense pressure, we have only seconds to react. I am increasing the rotation speed. We are pushing further into international waters, leaving the coast far behind. 50 meters of completed tunnel now stand behind us, but we have 80 kilometers of hostile geology left to conquer. Let's look at the logistics chain. Every bolt, every segment, and every liter of fuel must be transported through this single artery. We use autonomous electric haulers to minimize heat buildup. In this confined space, thermal management is a life or death battle. The ventilation system is a masterpiece of fluid dynamics. Giant fans push fresh air through 80 kilometers of steel ducting. Every 400 meters, we install a cross passage. These are safety bunkers, designed to withstand fire and flood. Observe the precision of the ring assembly. Each concrete segment is bolted with high tensile steel, then sealed with epoxy. The environment is lethal. Salt water is a corrosive monster, constantly trying to eat through our steel and concrete armor. That is why we use cathodic protection. A low-voltage current runs through the rebar, preventing rust at a molecular level. This is the silent war against the ocean, a relentless struggle where a 0.5 millimeter crack is a death sentence. I am shifting your attention to the surface. Above the tunnel, the most dangerous maritime operation in history is unfolding. Each bridge viaduct segment is a colossal steel and concrete beast, weighing 40,000 tons. We must lower it into the abyss. The Bering currents are unpredictable. I am using 4 heavy-lift crane barges, synchronized by a central AI positioning grid. Watch the tension on these steel cables. Each one is thick enough to support a naval destroyer, yet they vibrate like harp strings. I am initiating the immersion. We fill the internal ballast tanks with freezing seawater to overcome the structure's natural buoyancy. As the segment descends, we fight a 5-knot cross-current. Even a 1-degree tilt could cause a catastrophic structural collapse. Look at the underwater cameras. We are guided by blue sonar pulses. In this visibility, we are essentially building blind. The segment is now 10 meters from the seabed trench. I am ordering the fine-tuning of the thrusters to lock the coordinates. A final descent. The segment settles into the crushed stone bedding. The impact is monitored by thousands of microsensors. Now, the critical connection. We use the Gina gasket system, a giant rubber seal that must withstand the weight of the Pacific. I am activating the hydraulic jacks. They pull the new segment against the previous one with a force of 10,000 tons. As the water is pumped out from the junction, the external water pressure creates a permanent, vacuum-tight lock. This is physics at its most brutal. The ocean itself is now helping us hold the tunnel together through sheer weight. I must ensure the foundation is stable. We inject liquid grout into the space between the segment and the trench floor. The immersion war for this segment is won, but 90 more segments are waiting in the Nome assembly yard.
As you can see, the environment here is unforgiving. It is this rugged landscape that makes the prospect of industrial development so controversial.
This is the checkpoint of the giants. We are transforming these ancient rocks into a massive industrial logistics hub. The technical challenge here is the permafrost. If the ground thaws, the entire bridge foundation will sink into the mud. I am deploying a grid of thermosiphones, giant cooling tubes that extract heat from the soil to keep it frozen forever. Look at the rock fill operation. We are dumping 50 million cubic meters of granite to create an artificial landing ramp. The bridge viaducts must transition into the tunnel portal here. The elevation change requires a precision-engineered spiral ramp. Observe the massive anchor blocks. Each one is a solid cube of reinforced concrete buried deep into the island's core. These blocks must resist the horizontal pull of the bridge cables during level 15 Arctic storms. I am overseeing the construction of the Arctic Fort, a reinforced dome protecting the tunnel entrance from tidal surges. Inside the dome, the air pressure is controlled to prevent the piston effect as high-speed trains enter the tunnel. We are also building a massive power substation here, fueled by small modular nuclear reactors for total autonomy. Without this power, the ventilation and drainage systems would fail in minutes, turning the tunnel into a tomb. Look at the transport docks. Heavy lift ships are unloading thousands of tons of steel from Russian and American mills. This is where two nations finally shake hands through concrete and steel. The political boundary is now a construction joint. The Diomede hub is 80% complete. We are ready for the final push toward the American coast. The tunnel is now a breathing organism. Look at these massive axial fans, each the size of a 3-story building. I am managing the piston effect. When a high-speed train enters at 3 to 100 kilometers per hour, it pushes a wall of air. To prevent structural damage, I use pressure relief shafts every 2 kilometers. These vent the shock waves into the service tunnel. Observe the rail system. We are installing heavy-duty, ballastless track slabs, precision-aligned using laser-guided robotics. Every rail clip is torqued to exact specifications. In this environment, even a microscopic vibration can lead to track fatigue. I am overseeing the installation of the catenary power lines, high-voltage copper wires capable of powering a whole city. Look at the fire suppression system. I have installed a high-pressure water mist network that can suffocate a fire in seconds. Every 50 meters, there are heat-sensitive cameras. They can detect a temperature rise of 1 degree before smoke even appears. Inside the service tunnel, I am deploying a fleet of autonomous maintenance drones. They crawl the walls looking for leaks. Notice the communication arrays. We use a dedicated fiber optic backbone to bridge the digital gap between the 2 continents. The drainage system is now fully automated. Massive sumps collect every drop of condensation to prevent track corrosion. I am testing the emergency lighting. Thousands of low-energy LED arrays that can guide passengers to safety during a power failure. The logistics are staggering. We are currently moving 5,000 tons of electrical equipment into the abyss every week. Observe the thickness of the tunnel lining here. We have reinforced it with high-strength carbon fiber at the tectonic junctions. Every system is redundant. If one fails, 2 more are ready to take over. This is the engineering of absolute certainty. The final 300 meters, the American TBM from Nome and the Russian machine from Yulin are closing the gap. I am monitoring the acoustic sensors. We can hear the vibrations of the opposing cutter head through the solid rock. The precision required is terrifying. If our alignment is off by even a few centimeters, the structural integrity is compromised. I order a complete halt. We are drilling a small pilot hole to verify the exact position of the Russian team. Look at the drill bit. As it breaks through, a rush of air equalization whistles through the tiny opening. The alignment is perfect. A deviation of only 8 millimeters after 40 kilometers of drilling. A triumph of physics. I am restarting the Bering Leviathan. These are the final rotations. The rock face is crumbling, revealing a flickering light from the other side. Breakthrough. The 2 massive cutter heads meet. For the first time in history, there is a dry path between Eurasia and America. The atmosphere in the tunnel is electric. Engineers from both nations are shaking hands through the steel teeth of the machines. But we cannot celebrate yet. I must oversee the immediate stabilization of this critical junction point. We are installing the final ring, a specialized steel-reinforced segment that locks the 2 tunnel halves into one. Observe the high-precision grouting. We are fusing the Russian and American concrete shells into a single seamless artery. I am checking the seismic dampers at the junction. This point must absorb any movement between the 2 tectonic plates. The golden bolt is being driven. This symbolizes the completion of the structural skeleton of the Bering Link. The tunnel is now a 82-kilometer vacuum-sealed corridor ready for the final stage of high-speed rail integration. The first high-speed freight train is now entering the Bering portal. This is a moment that redefines global logistics forever. Traveling at 2 to 100 kilometers per hour, cargo from Beijing can now reach New York in less than 7 days. Observe the automated sorting hubs at the tunnel ends. Millions of tons of minerals and electronics now flow through this artery. I am analyzing the economic data. The Bering Link is projected to increase global trade efficiency by 15% annually. Look at the energy corridor. Massive hydrogen pipelines run alongside the tracks, fueling the industries of 2 continents. This project has proven that the harshest environments on Earth can be tamed by precision and absolute engineering will. The environmental impact is strictly monitored. The hybrid system preserves the migration paths of whales and Arctic marine life. I am overseeing the transition to full commercial operation. The tunnel is now a self-sustaining economic engine. Notice the maintenance cycle. Every night, robotic swarms inspect the 80-kilometer corridor to ensure total safety. The bridge viaducts above are now a silhouette against the Aurora Borealis, a monument to human ingenuity in the ice. We have bridged the ultimate gap. Russia and the United States are no longer separated by water, but joined by steel. This is the legacy of the hybrid Bering project, a world where distance is no longer a barrier to progress. I am closing the final technical report for Megamass Studios. The system is green, the artery is open. As the lights of the tunnel recede, we realize this is only the beginning of our journey into the deep future.
This new facility represents a monumental leap forward in Arctic research, allowing us to monitor changes in real time.